What's up, everybody? Welcome to an episode of Hops Geek News, the Cantina Hour, baby. We are at Cantina Hour. Sorry, we are a couple minutes late. We just got done having a really great guest who is very well versed in the Doctor Who Dracula universe. So more to come there, guys. We got a great episode for you. We're going to be talking the Deadpool Wolverine trailer. We are going to be talking about Fallout Season 1. And of course, do first things first, though. Like, subscribe, share, all of that really good stuff, man. That's how the podcast can grow. Follow us on YouTube, Twitter, you name it, we're there. Do yourself a favor, find us there. And then, of course, Cantina Hour, man. If you want to support the show, patreon.com/hopsgeeknews is how you can do exactly just that. I am drinking a beer that I'm about to open. It's from Benchtop Brewing out of Richmond/Norfolk, Virginia. It's called Proven Theory. It's a West Coast IPA coming at 7%. And I'm doing this because as we could talk about Fallout tonight, there are some theories, if you will, or some experiments that go on within the vaults. So that's the reason behind my beer. I'm going to throw it to Lauren while I go ahead and share this out on all the social media sites. So Lauren, take it away.
I haven't even gotten a beer yet, so I'm gonna when Matt comes back.
What are you doing?
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. You gotta do what you gotta do. I got this. So obviously I have a lot of opinions, and you can see in my thing we're doing Blind Al to Betty. So that was a fun little segue. So if you did not recognize, or if Betty looked familiar to you in Fallout and you weren't quite sure why, that's because she's Blind Al. She's just not blind in Fallout, and she's not obsessed with Coke. But she can't be obsessed with Coke anymore because Disney now owns Deadpool, and that was the one thing Feige said. So I cannot wait to get into all of this. So what Matt was saying, that we did just actually record some really cool creator interviews. The first one we recorded was about a comic book called Youth Group, and it is basically set in the 90s. And this young girl is forced to go to youth group because her mom wants her to go to church. And she finds out that the youth group pastors are actually doing real exorcisms. That comic is hilarious. You're going to want to listen to that episode, and you're going to want to check out that comic. And the other one we did was with Chris, who, like Matt said, has worked on Doctor Who comics, has worked on Dracula. He's done a couple projects under Cosby Media Productions. So if you remember our interview with Braxton Cosby, he's releasing some projects under him, as well as a really cool Christmas story. So both of those creator interviews should be coming out shortly. And we also finally recorded our Dune episode. I finally watched Dune and I read Dune, and we got it all out and we got to talk about it. So that episode will be dropping Monday morning. I really wish I could talk about my beer, but I don't have a beer. I do have 2 empty cans here, though. So eventually I'll go get my third one.
Well, that's okay. When you do come back from your third one, for some reason I had to stream this to my personal Facebook page. I don't know why. Technical difficulties for some reason with the site that we use, StreamYard, doesn't let me go right to our Facebook group anymore. So if you could be so kind to also see if you can't post this in our Facebook group so they could show up, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, while I'm
doing the YouTube link.
No, we're live right now. But it's on my personal Facebook page. It's not letting me share it to our Facebook page, the Hops Geek News Facebook page. See what I'm saying?
Gotcha. I will drop the YouTube
able
link.
To go ahead and share it go on Facebook on your page, go to my page, share it into our Facebook. That would be awesome, because for some reason, I don't know why it's not letting me do it here. But anyways, folks, yeah, while Lauren goes and grabs another beer, I'll chat a little bit real quick. So Cantina Hour, obviously, really good thing. We just recorded a Dune episode tonight where we talked about Dune 1, Dune 2, all that good kind of jazz. And then we sat down with Jordan Morris, who has a really exciting comic book coming out soon. It's called Youth Group. It's about just kind of that. It's a youth group, bunch of, like a youth pastor, and they go and exorcise demons. So it's very much, if you've been put into this world of youth pastors and things like that, it's great for you, because this is the world we're kind of going to live in. And then from that point, we also just released a great episode with Kyle Starks this past week where we talked about karate prom. If you've ever gone to prom, if you've ever done karate, this is also the book for you, because guess what? You get all of the above in that. And then, man, we just got a lot of stuff going on. But some things that we've been doing lately, we watched X-Men. X-Men just dropped their latest episode this past week. And spoilers ahead, if you haven't watched the latest episode of X-Men, 3, 2, 1, you've had a warning. Dude, this is the episode I was waiting for. Last episode, of course, whenever we got X-Men, they didn't dive into the psyche behind the fact that Genosha just got bombed by the Sentinels. There was no real emotions behind it. Whereas this week, we got that. We are opening the episode with Nightcrawler giving this very emotional speech to the X-Men community. Dude, it was the bomb. Absolutely. Our boy Maynard is up in the YouTube, man. We are going to talk about Fallout. I promise you. I know he has some mixed feelings on this. But dude, I can't believe with X-Men this week, it opens up. Nightcrawler is giving this like epic speech. Gambit, obviously, Remy has passed away. The rest of the mutants,
Spoilers.
yes, the rest of the mutants go to Genosha to kind of like, hey, the UN's like, hey, the president of the United States is, it's all about optics. It's all about this bullshit. We're not going to go ahead and search for bodies because there haven't been bodies found in the last X amount of years or days. And it's kind of like bull crap at that point, right? It sucks. Like there's no reason for that to be the case. And so they go there, and we're getting a lot of deep stuff at this point, man. Rogue is out there on an absolute mission. Rogue is out here just killing everyone.
I'm sorry, but she's never been hotter.
Oh my God. I was like, Rogue, baby girl, I will to the end of the earth, till the end of the earth with her, because I would do the same. Like, how are people, at what point do you decide the mutants, like you're the hero, like you're being the heroes, but at what point is enough for these guys, right? I don't understand. I don't understand.
Do you see this bottle opener? I don't understand this. It's like
What's going on?
backwards. So it's a Mjolnir bottle opener, but it's like backwards. So I had to hold it like this to get the cap open rather than holding it like maybe the beer's not worthy. I don't know.
It's not worthy. Interesting. I don't know. So what are you cracking open over there?
So I did not pre-plan a beer for this. I've been really bad about pre-planning my beers. I do have some beers ready to go for May. I have specific Star Wars themed beers. I just haven't been over to like GB Bottle Shop and like pick, I used to strategically pick up beers for specific episodes.
I themed all three of my beers tonight, and you didn't theme a single one. That's disgusting.
That's not true in our Dune episode. I themed both beers. I themed the Dune one to Yacht Money, and I themed my Tupac Shaporter was a 90s beer, and we talked about a comic based in the 90s. So this beer is going to be themed quite perfectly because I grabbed a hell of a whale of a beer. In a state of panic, I was like, you know what? This fucking trailer deserves a hell of a beer. I am drinking a 2011 Bourbon County brand stout from Goose Island.
Oh, interesting.
It is 14.5%, and that was over a decade ago. This is still 11 years younger than Hugh Jackman's first appearance as Wolverine, but it's, it smells fantastic. Yeah. But it smells like I'm not going to work tomorrow.
Well, good news is you aren't going to work tomorrow. I am. I have a wedding to officiate tomorrow at that, and I'm out here. I'm drinking beers. Who am I?
This is yummy.
Is it good? This one's good. This is a West Coast IPA, actually. I love a good West Coast. West Coast is a slept on in my Hops Geek News glass. We need to run some of these glasses back, I think. If people
because I've shattered mine.
YouTube, Twitter, all in the find us out there. We let us know if you want some of these glasses, man. We had some Hops Geek News glasses made, but yeah, dude, this week of X-Men is what I was saying is what I was looking for emotional wise. Everybody, it's a somber tone. Turns out Magneto's still alive.
Of course he is.
He's getting tortured though. Magneto's getting tortured. But man, so what did you think overall, besides Rogue being hot as hell because she was, of this episode this week? Was it more what you were looking for, like we talked about last week?
Yeah, I'm not surprised that they had an episode that was like more chill in between. I feel like they used to kind of do that before. I'm trying to think of the 90s one, but no, I like this one much better than I did last week. Yeah, I obviously I wanted more about Rogue and what was going on, but her emotions were so real and raw. And I love that, they were mad that she wasn't at the funeral. And Logan was like, we all got to deal with grief in our own way kind of thing. Cause it's true. And I feel like one of the really hard things with grief and, like one of the terrible things like was when a couple loses a child. A
Yeah.
lot of times they don't end up staying together, and I feel like what it is they judge each other for grieving differently. And we all grieve in our own way and expect other people to grieve the same way, and you can't judge somebody who's grieving. You got to let them feel the feels, and that's what Rogue is doing. And whew, when she chucked that shield, that was
Dude, when
amazing.
Captain America showed up and she's like, "What are you doing out here policing?" And then he was like being cordial. And then whenever she was basically like, he said he couldn't allocate the time or something like that, and she fucking threw his shield. I was like, "Girl, me too." Oh
That was
man,
amazing. Yeah. I want to see
I
somebody chuck his shield like that in the MCU.
I like could not believe that she was just like, "Man, fuck this. I can't believe this guy's doing this."
Made me
And
think of the line with the Ultron. You have the strongest metal in the world and you make a frisbee.
well, yeah, like, dude, like, I can't believe Captain America thought for a second he could be like, "Oh, well, let's talk about this," because, like, no, no, absolutely not, absolutely not. I
That's
don't
what I
know,
got.
but yeah, that's kind of what I have there. Let's go into a little trailer. There's a little
Little
trailer
tr-
drop this week, Lauren.
What trailer dropped?
What dropped this week?
I don't know. It was Deadpool and Wolverine, and people need to stop calling it Deadpool 3 because it was not Deadpool 3. It was Deadpool and Wolverine.
It
Okay, so one of the
was.
first things I said, so I watched this trailer. I was literally sitting so I have to drop one kid off, and then when I go to drop the other kid off, there's like 15 minutes. I don't know what, are you laughing at me or are you laughing at a comment?
I'm laughing at you.
Oh.
No, I'm trying to fix the Facebook bullshit. So
Oh, okay. I did put the YouTube link in there, so if you're having issues on Facebook and can't find us, then you can't hear this. So that's not really helping. If you found us on YouTube, yay. So I dropped Logan off, and then Brielle's school doesn't start for a little bit after. So I end up sitting in the parking lot with her for 10, 15 minutes before I can let her go. And that's when I saw that the trailer had been released. So I'm watching it in the parking lot with her. And obviously, she's never seen Deadpool. She's not allowed. She's 11.
right.
And I'm just like yelling things. And one of the things I yelled was Pym Falls. So that Ant-Man head, that is in the first
Pim
thing I
Falls.
did when I went home was I pulled up Old Man Logan and I opened it up to Pym Falls, which is literally like, so Ant-Man was Giant Man, and when he fell, they called it Pym Falls, and they built a city around this. And so a couple things I noticed with Old Man Logan, and people are saying like, oh, they're not going to do the Old Man Logan storyline. This is different, da 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 da. But then now I'm seeing more people come out and referencing more things, because one of the things I thought in it was like, okay, so that they start right away and he's in a bar and he's like, you're not welcome here. Well, in the Logan movie, which Logan movie takes place in the future, but in that movie, Xavier is the one that ended up killing the mutants. In Old Man
Oh,
Logan, Mysterio tricked Logan into thinking that the X-Men were bad guys, and
that's right.
Logan is the one that killed the X-Men. And so he has to like live with that, because like he like caused this
Interesting.
wastelands thing to happen, and he refuses to pop his claws again because he's now settled with wife and kids. And so I do wonder, is this a different Logan and it's not the Logan that we know? Because the
I
Logan that we know didn't necessarily do anything that would piss everybody off and say
I
that
mean,
and the TVA even says this Wolverine like fucked up his whole
well, they basically
world.
he let his world die. And so
Right.
I'm very
And
well, there's rumors that Daphne Keene's gonna be making an appearance too. Did you see that?
that would be cool. If she does, I do wonder, would that be but it couldn't be the Logan version, because Daphne King in the Logan version is still at that children's hospital.
Well, here's my question then also, because
What if it's Daphne? Okay, because it could
well,
still be
no,
Daphne King
my
and not be the same Laura.
my big question that with that is the fact that the trailer shows him showing up to where remember, like, it starts off with him, Logan the toy is dead on the tree and everything, and it looks like he shows up to those woods. So does he save him then? Do you think? Or is it completely different? Because his world is dead. And so when they go to Pim Falls in the trailer, you see Azazel, you see the girl with the finger
Right.
claws. I forget her name. And then
Lady Deathstroke?
yeah,
No.
no, Death Strike.
Deathstroke? Deathstroke is DC.
Yeah. Oh, and then
Maybe Deathstrike.
you see Pyro on
Frog?
car. You see, yeah, dude, yes, he's on the car, like he's all hanging out. So it makes me wonder. This has got to be the Fox universe, like the Fox universe. This is
Or is it
the Void.
the
So did they all get
Void?
sucked
Because
into the?
yeah,
This is the
Elias
no,
is in it.
this is definitely the Void.
Right, but it also there are parts that look like straight up the wastelands.
True. I don't know. Like I'm just throwing things out here, but I think it's got to be the Void. And so it's very interesting that he let his world die, but then we get sleeveless Logan. And then did you see the Liefield's
The feet
feet?
thing.
Because he doesn't know how to draw feet and he's such a pompous fucking asshole.
So that is really funny. Why don't you explain it while I drink water?
Yeah, so Rob Liefeld is not known for his ability to draw, period. He drew that very awful Captain America with like the
I think he
wonky
draws well.
he can't draw feet and hands, that's for sure. Lauren dies on the screen over here.
I can't unmute. Oh, there we go. But no, he's notoriously known for not being able to draw feet, and he even calls himself out on it. And he will hide people's feet so he doesn't have to draw them. Anybody who's ever drawn cartoons, and like I don't consider myself an artist, but I do like to draw. Hands and feet are the freaking hardest, man. They really
Okay,
are.
they are, but if you're a published comic book artist, come on, dude. You've drawn. He created.
Hey, we all have our talents and our
Oh
downfalls.
no, he
But
created
in a
Deadpool.
right,
Rob
100.
Liefeld is known for creating Deadpool.
And I yelled Liefeld when I was watching the thing, and I didn't put the feet together right away. I did watch it like 5 more times after that, but
Well, I mean, there's a lot in this trailer, right? It's a very good trailer. We get a lot of Wolverine.
yes, finally, because the first one we got no Wolverine except a shadow and
Well,
hopefully the
that was the
back
point.
of Patch's head, who is Hugh Jackman. We shall see.
Well, yeah, but I like that we get the suit too. I love that we get the suit, and then we get the sleeveless suit of Wolverine. I like
Sleeveless
that
suit
act,
cover.
and I like the tagline is "Let's fucking go," because that's
Let's
all of us right
fucking
now.
go. They dropped so many
Let's
F-bombs in the trailer.
fucking
It was amazing.
I think they did that. So my running personal conspiracy theory, if you want to believe in conspiracy theories for 5 seconds with me, is that they did that to show parents that you should not be bringing your kids to this movie. Because parents are going to be like, oh, Wolverine's back. Oh, the X-Men. I'm going to take my 8-year-old Timothy and we're going to go see Deadpool and Wolverine. And then 5 seconds in, it's going to be Deadpool talking about, do you want to build a snowman, doing cocaine with Blind Al. And it's just one of those things.
Well,
It's
and Ryan Reynolds even did that with the first Deadpool. Like he literally was making jokes and stuff like leave your kids at home.
Yeah, I mean, that's gotta be the reason why they marketed this the way they did, because you're not bringing your fucking kids to this movie, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, definitely don't do that.
But overall though, like this trailer, amazing. This movie's gonna easily hit $1 billion. There's not a doubt in my mind that this trailer won't hit $1 billion somehow. And no, it should. Deservedly so. I hope it does hit $1 billion. Let me know in the chat if you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitter, whatever it may be. Like, let me know what your predictions for this movie are. I personally think it's going to make all the money in the world. I hope Lauren and I get to see it a day early in London, England, because we're going to be in London, England. And I hope it's a movie we get to see together, because it's the only Marvel movie we're getting this year.
I
And
know, which is
I'm
so
so
crazy.
excited. Well,
I feel
it's
like
good.
2020 was like the only movie in the last however many years that we only got one Marvel movie.
I do have
Or
one
was it
question though.
what? What's your one question?
Well, you're right. 2020 was like the only year. It was Black Widow, wasn't it, that year?
I don't even think
So,
we got Black Widow that year. Didn't we get it in 2021? I saw Black Widow in the theater, so it did not come out in 2020.
yeah, that's true. No, it came out 2021. It must have came out 2021 then. But my big question is the sling rings in the trailer. Obviously, that's like an Earth only kind of thing that we've seen so far. So is this how Deadpool comes into our universe? Wolverine's dying. I think we're meeting our MCU Wolverine in this movie, and Wolverine's not.
It hurts my heart.
Deadpool.
I know it needs to happen, but it hurts my heart.
Yeah. This is how Deadpool gets to the MCU, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess.
I just Googled it and it said The Falcon and Winter Soldier comes out in August 2020, Black Widow November 2020, WandaVision December 2020. This was clearly not updated after COVID.
Yeah, probably not. But I don't know, man. I'm excited. I'm excited. I hope we get to see it.
It makes sense that
Now,
we would get MCU. Oh, what was somebody saying? I saw a theory somewhere. Okay, you know those two guys who like come up with theories? They do like little videos like, "Did you hear this theory?" And they're like, "No, I didn't hear that theory. What is it?" And
oh
they're
yeah, give
always
me a
amazing theories.
series.
So one of their theories was that anytime there was a mutant in the MCU, it's whether you want to call it 616 or 9999, that every time there was a mutant, the TVA showed up and took them to the void. And those are why those mutants are in the void. And that is why we have not seen mutants in the MCU until like
Well,
Miss
yeah,
Marvel.
I think the void's gonna kind of explode. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think Deadpool is gonna escape from the void because a lot of this movie's gonna take place in the void, and I
Oh yeah,
think
he's
it's
got to escape the TVA. Yeah.
oh my god, Lozano. Shrek will forever be my favorite movie. You know what? When I saw her face, I'm a believer. I'm a believer.
You couldn't.
Dude, I fuck with Shrek so hard. He's one of my guys. I fucking love this kid.
I
Um,
was like, what are you talking
no,
about?
he's one of my homies from work. I love this dude so much.
I'm like, are you
Uh,
just singing the
my boy
month?
host.
What's in it? It's
No,
not
did you not see
originally from
this
Shrek.
comment? No,
No,
it's
I'm on YouTube and Twitter.
but I do firmly believe that the mutants we're gonna get mutants after this. This is what leads to the
Oh, fuck
mutant
yeah,
things.
yeah.
But let's go into Fallout. So,
Um, okay.
what do you have any final thoughts on the Deadpool Wolverine trailer before I do that?
I will never have final thoughts.
That's fair. Me neither.
I hope we get the Hulk, who has been poisoned by gamma radiation, is giant, and I hope he eats Wolverine, and I hope Wolverine busts out of his tummy and then takes the baby Hulk and gallivants away into the wastelands. And I hope that we get blind Hawkeye driving because
okay, but like I
that would
really
be
hope we
amazing.
get Hawkeye and they gotta be if they
Ooh,
bring Tim Falls and shit, right? They gotta fucking
do you
tease
know what
somebody.
else we get in Old Man Wolverine? Venom T-Rex.
Oh
Who
no,
doesn't
no.
want a Venom T-Rex?
I don't want Venom, period. If
I
it's
feel like
this
Sony's
Sony
probably like,
version of
"Wait,
Venom.
there's a Venom T-Rex? Why haven't
Write
we
that
done a
down, write that
movie
down.
based on him?" Right?
Oh man. Well, let's go to Fallout. So Amazon Prime just recently released the first season of the Fallout TV series, starring Ella Purnell as Lucy McLean, Aaron Moten as Maximus, Walton Goggins as Cooper Howard, and of course we have Moises Arias as Norman McLean, and then our Blind Al is in this as Betty Pearson, Zach Cherry is Woody Thomas, and we get so many more characters. Now, I'm not familiar with the games. I personally never really played the games, so I've known what they are. I know, the thumbs up Pit Boy. I'm very familiar with that, but I did not know anything about the games going in. And so I was very pleasantly surprised. Carrie was also I was like, we should watch this show. I've heard it's very good. It's based on the game. We both are very familiar with the games. I didn't expect it to be this good. Obviously, there's a lot of things, there's a lot of lore within the vaults that we find out uh throughout this whole series. Shout out to my girl Reve in the chat, man. That's my other homie right there. But dude, as somebody who like doesn't know shit about the games, what was your initial thoughts on Fallout? Because I'm the one that told you to watch. I knew you'd fucking like this.
Yeah,
I
no, I
knew you
had
would.
zero desire to watch it at all. I had seen, because Prime was running the ads and whatnot. And I was like, yeah, I'm okay. And then when you're like, you should watch it, the second I put
I
it
knew
on,
you would like that, man.
they were playing like Nat King Cole or Natalie Cole or something, and I instantly
So
fell in love with it. I don't
the
know
whole
what it
thing's
was.
in 2077, but it's set in like it's the 50s vibe or 70s vibe, like Vietnam era, like the Cold War, but it's takes
Yeah.
place in 2077.
Wait, it
Uh,
was supposed to, I literally thought it was supposed to be like the 1950s. Because all the music is like all set like that. And I weirdly like love that the music is all like 50s music. I think it's like really cool. I don't know the exact years, but maybe it's 60s or something. But I don't know. I just loved the feel and the music. And I thought it was funny that Lucy, you just said like it's not Lucy McLean, but it sounds like Lucy McLean, which is John McClane's daughter.
obviously, it's John McClane's daughter. She's diehard, but in the wastelands of post-apocalyptic Earth, which turns out to be corporations, which
Of
that's not
course
the
it
most
does.
meta shit on Earth. Like all the corporations buying, and then they fucking like
So many
experiment
twists
on
and turns.
people.
But of course they would. They did that in World War II. I mean,
Yeah,
it
with
was
like
so interesting how
units that Japanese unit, and then all the Germans who came to without NASA.
Yeah, they 100% like experiment in like not every war that I know. I don't know the insights, but we've heard of so many different things where people were experimented on, which is disgusting, but it happens. But of course, if you
My
have like
mental health has been experimented on in this most recent war. No, I'm just kidding.
genius, genius level scientists, of course they're going to do that. But
Yeah.
I loved that there were so many twists and turns and mysteries, and then her finding out, the history she thought she knew wasn't accurate, and that she learned like, oh, there was people out here. And I love the whole ghoul thing and all the
Oh,
connections.
dude, Walter Goggins is fucking mint in this series.
I never cared for him in anything else I had
I
seen him in.
didn't
I always
either.
because he plays a really good D-bag. That's probably why.
Well, he was in he's played opposite of Timothy Oliphant and shows like what the fuck? It was that shooter show that he's in on FX that he was in. And so he's
Oh,
always
I know
like
what you're talking about, but I haven't
yeah,
seen it.
yeah. He's played in a ton of shows, man. Like he's a very famous actor.
He's in
We didn't know.
Ant-Man.
Shout out to my wife for bringing me water right now. H2O. But no, like I never really cared about him either. He's in a ton of stuff. He's always like that secondary actor that he's
Mhm.
an asshole. He's the antagonist. Just kind of like there. And so in this instance, he's very much a trivial, very important piece of the plot. Like the whole show opens up with him and his daughter. He's putting on a show for these rich douchebags. And then he's talking to
We
her about the war.
we don't know
And
why he's being like he is.
no. So we don't know, like, well, he's a war veteran. The Great War was taking place, and we all think like, oh, World War II, Vietnam War, but no, this is like the Great War because they
They have
reference
like a
the war in Alaska where they fought Russia and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah, and they had
Uh,
the, like, Iron Man type suits.
yeah, so the Brotherhood basically so the whole Brotherhood was to preserve the old way of American life. The lore behind them is they wanted to preserve all of that stuff. Um,
Their symbol looked a
they
little Jedi-ish.
yeah, I mean, they're very much going about it wrong, right? But their whole reason behind existing is they want to go out there. They want to find ancient artifacts from the world and they want to preserve that. And they also wanted to like protect the American way, essentially, is their whole thought process. But of course, you have like the scribes with those oversized golf bags carrying these guns. Like you
I
have
know.
these
I felt
awful
like
funny kids.
yeah, and they intentionally made them look like caddies, I felt like, because I thought the same thing that was golf bags. So the one I had an issue with, Moldova, is that what her name was?
Oh, yeah. So, okay, I think I know where you're going with this one. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'd only ever seen her in the new Sex and the City, and so
Oh, I
she
hadn't even watched that. I didn't know she was in that.
yeah, she's in that, and so she's like Carrie's new BFF. So she obviously is from the past, and
Yep.
she's, very much so like it's clearly a cult, but she's also very aware of what's going on. And so she's with the mom and she acts like she cares about the mom, but she let the mom go full ghoul and had no problem with that guy trying to kill her kids. You're muted. Maybe because you're in Vault 42069.
Ah, 42069. Yeah, Vault 42069.
Oh, I see what you did there. Oh, okay.
I'm in Vault. We're experimenting on some real good shit up in Vault
I'll bet you are in your mom's
42069.
basement. Uh-huh.
Saw, dude. Uh, no, man. So, okay. The Lucy's mom was believed to have died. We don't know how she died. We go through the whole
I
series.
assume she died when the dad bombed the place.
Well, I didn't. So the story we get is that there was like the crops. So this vault, particularly Vault 31 and Vault 32, the whole show kicks off with Vault 31. Lucy's getting married to his member of Vault 32. They're going to
Yeah.
continue.
And I was like, ooh, he's hot. Oh, he's dead.
Is it? Yeah, it's 31 or is it 33? Vault 33 and 32. It's 33 and 32.
I
So
think
Vault
she's
33,
32. Yeah.
she's 33, Vault 32. They're getting married,
Oh.
which by the way, Lucy's brother is from Hannah Montana. Just an FYI. He plays Rico in Hannah Montana. Just so everybody
Does
out
he
there.
really? Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't
dude. He
see
still looks
that.
the same, just shorter hair and he still looks the same.
Oh.
But so Vault 33 and 32, they go to marry, and it turns out that raiders had stormed Vault 32. That kicks off like mass killings and all of that kind of stuff. And that's kind of where that goes. And Lucy's like, I gotta find my dad, because then in comes, Moldova. She takes the dad. He's like, wait, don't I know you? And we're like, interesting. Does that have to do with the mom? Because we're believed to think the mom died during a crop failure because they're growing corn and other things like that. Well, fast forward, it turns out that Walter Goggins was a famous actor and his
I
wife was
love
on the
that.
board with the company, Vaultec. And he kind of got like a heads up, like Vaultec's really shitty from one of his war buddies. You should come to this meeting where Moldova's kind of giving a speech. And then at that point, that's where we find out that the mom's basically like, war never changes. Let's prepare. They basically shopped off all these vaults. They're like, well, why are we going to buy these vaults? There's no money in this. And they're like, well, we can create basically Vaultec nuclear bombed the US. And that's what happened. And all these other companies bought different vaults to experiment. So there's experiments that were like, there was one guy with 999 women. There was one girl with 999 men. There was experiments run through vaults that were essentially like they were giving them drugs to see what would happen. They purposely starved people. They were doing all sorts of experiments. And then one of the vaults actually turned out to be the ghouls. They were doing stuff to like,
Oh,
so the ghouls were created because one of the vault experiments were, hey, what happens if we expose humans to radiation over a prolonged period of time? And that's how the
I thought
ghouls
that just
created.
happened to the people that weren't in the vaults.
No. So the ghouls were created by overexposure to radiation. That's how the ghouls got created. Now we don't know what happened to Walter Goggins' character Cooper. We are believed he's like this awful human being or ghoul, where he's a bounty hunter
He
in
was
this
a
world.
really we keep learning how much of a nice human he was, and then how much of a horrible ghoul he is. But he was with
He
his
cuts off Lucy's
daughter.
finger. Yeah, like he cuts off her finger.
Right.
He throws her in the water. He's like this
Well,
awful
he offered it up
bounty
to the
hunter.
organ donation people. But
Yes.
when the bomb was dropped, though, he was with his daughter. And that was the whole thing when the mom was like, "We're gonna be the ones to drop the bomb, and I'm gonna protect the ones I love, but you're not gonna make sure that your daughter's with you when it gets dropped." So I felt like there were a few things that were inconsistent, but with how the show was, where every episode was like more of a mystery and more of an explaining this
Oh yeah.
mystery. I feel like they will explain that in season 2, but I just felt like
Well, to no
there were just
surprise, yeah,
some
we're getting a season two. But
inconsistencies.
I'm with you. Like
Oh,
you're very much like interesting. Like because as somebody who doesn't know the lore, you're like, what's and like Lucy's a made up character. The ghouls aren't not made up, but like Cooper's made up, right? And Hank and all them, like that's obviously
what do you
all
mean
kind of
made up? Like they're not in the game?
well, like they loosely follow the games, but this is made up for the TV show, right?
Oh, so Lucy's not in the game?
No, 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 no. This is all made up for the TV show, man. Which by the way, Lucy, the girl, Ella, she played in Army of the Dead by Zack Snyder, by the way. I knew I
She was
recognized.
also in Yellow Jackets.
Yes, yes, she
Okay,
was.
so anybody who has not seen Yellow Jackets that wants to see Yellow Jackets, I recommend muting it for the next 20 seconds in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So Lucy, the character, she gets eaten in Yellow Jackets, and then there's a scene
Oh,
where they meet people who eat people, and she's like, "Oh," and I felt like they like over filmed it on her for that extra exaggeration because she was eaten in Yellow Jackets.
interesting. I didn't see. I've only ever saw the first episode of Yellow Jackets. I never really got hooked. I guess that's my fault.
So that's
But
what happens. We're past the 20 seconds. I won't ruin anymore. If you want to watch
yeah,
Yellow Jackets, it's on Showtime.
we're back to spoiling the fuck out of Fallout brothers. But yeah, like Cooper, he's very much like the soulless bounty hunter. Maximus, personally, I hated Maximus's character. He's like this
Aw.
weenie. Maximus gets beat up, and then he gets promoted to squire for
He
uh
reminded me of Din
brother Titus.
Djarin. That was totally a foundling moment. He was a
No,
foundling, and this
no,
guy in
Din
like
Djarin's a
Mandalorian
badass.
armor comes
Maximus
and
is a
rescues him.
pussy, dude.
I
And I
thought so.
hate that word. Excuse my language, but I hate that word.
Which word?
Maximus is a pussy. He's a
Maximus?
bitch. Maximus is a grade A bitch in this, okay? Like
Oh, I
fucking
didn't think
bitch.
so at all.
I did think it was funny that Michael Rappaport played Titus and
There you go. That's what I was gonna
by that
say.
he gets eaten by
Well,
that bear.
he
He's like
deserves
this
it.
badass. He's being he like throws his groin plate to Maximus on the helicopter and then he's like, "Oh fuck this," and he runs from the mutated bear and gets killed. And I do think like Maximus, good for him, but he's a punk bitch in this series. Come on, so far, I do not like his character. I know we're supposed to, but I do not like his character so far.
I liked him. I thought he was good. I thought it was fun to see the backstory of the other guy that became his squire.
Yeah, I do like the guy who ultimately became
Well, I
Maximus's
don't like
squire.
him, but
I actually ended up
oh,
liking him. who he goes to that guy who fucks the chickens, and I think he's gonna turn into a ghoul. I think that's the whole thing with
Oh
that
yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah. I think that's exactly what it is. He's like, why am I not dead?
He's not dead. He gets his foot all fucked up and he's walking on that foot, and you're like, dude, what? How does that happen? And
Yeah.
it's absolutely mental. Uh, but I don't mind him at the end. It's like funny, right?
Hmm.
It's like, you get out of here, I'll go. And he's basically like sucking the dick of the brotherhood and all that shit. Like, Maximus is a punk. I don't like the love story with Lucy. He's like, "You want to make my cock explode now?" And you're like, "Oh,
That
brother."
was so weird.
It's so awkward and
I don't
uncomfortable, dude.
know. Yeah, that was weird. And like, yeah, Lucy was all about it, but I didn't understand that at all. Like, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Lucy's like, casually, "You wanna have sex now?" And he's like, "What? What's that? We're not supposed to do this." And she's like, "Okay.
But that reminded me of the Jedi too. You're not supposed to
Okie
first ask
dokie."
questions. Okie dokie. Okay, I love that she says okie dokie because
Well, she's so
I'm
innocent.
but I'm such a fan of okie dokie. I don't know. I like okie
She's
dokie. It's just like, okay, sounds great. Like I feel like that's just what it's summing up. It's just like and saying okay, but in a fun, nice way.
That's
Like
kinda how
I
I
like
feel
that.
about
Okie
life
dokie.
right now, is like, "Okie dokie." Or I recently watched Bluey this past week where they're moving and, like, their whole mantra is,
I watched
"We'll
that
see."
one.
Dude, it's fucking brutal. That is the
But then
we've
they
been through that
didn't
experience.
move.
I know. Like, that's so Carrie and I were actually talking about that.
Like, what is that teaching kids? If you're upset enough, your dad'll not take the job. What the fuck, Louis?
So as somebody who has had to move, this is my 4th
And
move,
not
right?
having a choice because you're in the
Not having a
military.
choice. Carrie and I went through that with our moves. Like, we didn't wanna move from New Hampshire, right, for example. Um, but, like, with the kids, they realized, oh, it kinda like, I wish they did move, because then it would have taught the kids, 'cause, like, it's helping the kids see that sometimes you have to. Uh, but yeah, again, that goes back. Yeah, I was kind of getting off track. What's up, my boy Michael DeMarco? Man, a lot of family friends. This goes to my personal Facebook page, so I'm seeing all the homies tonight, man. Uh, Drop in the chat if you're watching YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. That's where we're streaming from. Share if you could. Jump in the chat. This is our live Cantina Hour. Don't forget, as always, right? You gotta like, subscribe, share, all that good. I kind of feel like weird saying that.
Because it sucks. Every time we say that, a
It's
piece of our soul dies.
It does. We're not like, it's your boy, like, subscribe, share. And we're not peddling shit, man. We're just talking nerd stuff because our fucking spouses don't want to hear the shit we say. And then I try to talk about it with other people and they're like, what are you talking about? Join our Discord as well. We'll drop the Discord link in the chat if you want to join our Discord. We have a running group or a fitness group. We have a sports group. We have a supernatural group. We've got all sorts of things. There's a throwbacks if you want to throw like your throwbacks in there. We got all that kind of stuff. So thank you guys for anybody hanging out. But back to Fallout. We are talking Fallout right now. Uh yeah, I just didn't like Maximus. But I like them kind of together. I did like, my favorite sequences were with the ghoul when he was
Yeah.
like getting drunk off of the serum that he needs so that he doesn't become like, so what happens if the ghouls don't take this like serum?
They become
Essentially
like
they
a
become
walker.
like zombies. Yeah. They're
Yeah.
these vicious zombies. So I do like that whole sequence. And then I liked how he's very badass. I like how he kills, but he's not a bad dude, because as we see in the final, the Brotherhood swoops in. They're coming after, you know, the whole thing is they got that energy. I forget off the top of my head what it's called now. Um, but they get that unlimited energy essentially to restart the Earth or the city. So
Oh, the fusion or whatever that the
fusion,
lady
yeah.
makes. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
the whole city was blown up, and it turns out Lucy's mom was that took the kids, or Lucy to, or the kids to the city, and Hank, her dad, didn't like that, and he came
So
after
we
them.
bombed it as one
He
does.
took the kids back. He bombed the city with nukes, destroyed the city, and he's the
What else
bad
can you
guy.
do when your
Which,
ex takes your kids and runs?
that's scorched earth, man. And it turns out that Hank was actually frozen because Vault 31 froze all of the Vault Tech people to create the perfect leaders. Their whole thing was the perfect leaders. And so Hank met Cooper. And so Cooper walks in, Hank's in the cage after Lucy
I
was talking
love
to
that.
Moldova, and her mom's
Want
this
another
ghoul,
autograph?
is Bones. Lucy kills her mom, finally puts out her misery. Um, and then, yeah, like, he wanted Cooper's autograph, which is even like more of like, what the fuck right here, right? It's wild. Uh And then so Hank gets away in the fucking Brotherhood suit, which I think was funny. And so Lauren, you don't know this, but I do know this. The very last scene, you know that city they were looking at,
Mhm.
New Vegas. Now,
I
New
have seen
Vegas.
that, and they've heard that's gonna be the premise for season 2.
Yes. Now, New Vegas. So, do you know that guy with the mustache, Mr. House?
He was in
Did you see
Fallout?
his? He was in Fallout. He was one of the guys sitting there with the mustache. His name is Mr. House. He was on the board. If you look him up,
Oh, okay, yeah.
he is kind of the creator of New Vegas, and there's a lot of stuff that goes into New Vegas. So it looks like Hank was escaping to New Vegas, which is
Gotcha.
going to lead us into season 2. And it looks like Lucy's going to go with Cooper. We're going to get more of Cooper because Cooper's looking for his daughter. His daughter and wife are still out there, apparently, which makes
Well,
sense.
and that's what was interesting too when he says, "Where's my family?" Because he was with his daughter when the bomb dropped, so they must have
They
somehow
got on
met
the
up.
horse. They had to have gotten to a vault.
Right.
And so his wife and daughter must be somewhere. He must have gotten somehow turned into a ghoul. I'm very much invested in his backstory, dude.
But I wonder
So
if him being a ghoul is because he refused to go into a vault. That's what I thought the whole thing was, that he refused to
ah,
go into a vault, but his daughter and wife did, and so he was overexposed to radiation, which is what made him a ghoul. But I didn't know that they had a vault that was like that. I thought it was interesting though when you saw those Logan likes it. I think it's a Pokemon, but it's also a real fish. What is it called? An something with an X. But it looked like the fish slash human thingy that attacked Lucy and took the head of
oh
Benjamin.
yeah, it looked like it's like a salamander looking thing. I know what you're talking about. Yes, yes.
Axolotl.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Do you
I
know
was
what an
thinking
axolotl
like
is? Okay.
Alan.
So I was like, why does this thing have such human characteristics? Is this what the radiation has done to them? And what's funny too
It had the
is,
fingers in the mouth, man. That was so weird.
yeah. Yeah, that was yeah, that was really weird. But after, we recently read Rook Exodus from Ghost Machine, and
Oh
in that you
yeah,
have that planet
yeah.
where the animals are getting bigger and bigger. So when I saw the bear, that was where my mind went, was actually Rook Exodus.
Oh
And in,
yeah. That's a good.
because we don't know what's happening they killed that planet in the comic book, and so the animals are reacting to that. And so if it was overexposure to radiation in the book and the comic, like maybe that's why the bears are bigger or whatever. But you haven't heard of axolotl? I don't even know how to spell that. So oh, here it is.
I was thinking the salamanders, dude. I don't know. It all looks the
Yeah,
same to
no,
me.
it looks like an axolotl. It's Axoltl, but I think it's
Oh, it's
also
got like
a
the little
Pokemon.
like I know what you're talking about. Yeah, no, I know what Pokemon you're talking about. And yes, you are absolutely correct. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
proud
so
of
it's an
wow.
amphibian.
I'm very proud of you right now for naming a Pokemon on the show. That's the first time ever.
That's all Logan.
You, for the first time in the history of 4 years of this show, you have named a Pokemon.
Yeah, I know Pikachu.
Okay, that doesn't count. Everybody knows Pikachu.
Hmm.
Wow, that's a deep cut. That's a fucking deep cut, dude.
But it's a real
I'm
animal
impressed.
too, though. It's
It
not just a
is.
Pokemon.
I know. I'm just take the
So,
win,
yeah.
okay?
But the guy from, what is he, from Saturday Night Live that had the, one eye, the Cyclops dude, like, he said that
Oh,
one
yes. Yes, he
axolotl
did.
guy was, like, his great uncle. And I thought that
Yes.
was interesting because, like, you went into that bunker and you thought it was dark and they were experimenting on humans, and, like, really they were just survivors who had been experimented on. So I love that the twists and turns just kept coming.
Is that how you say it? Ambistonia? I don't know. My parents would know. They're all sorts of reptiles and stuff at the house. I don't know.
My mom commented, "Been watching, just finally signed in."
Logging it. No, yeah, I agree. There's a lot of really cool stuff, man. I loved this season. I thought, we got 8 hours of and again, this is where I go back to what I was talking about, man. Video games finally figured out the formula. You can't do a 2.5 hour movie about a video game. It doesn't work. Video games are very intricate depending on the video game. Like there's a lot of story to tell, there's a lot of things that go in. So telling it in a movie cinematic way doesn't work. Now, if you take your source material, you turn it into 8 to 10 episodes of television series like
Last of
Fallout,
Us.
like Last of Us. Um,
Can we get, was it Jedi? What's the one with Cameron Monaghan?
Jedi
Jedi
Survivor.
Survivor?
Oh, dude, if we can get a Jedi. Well, we're getting Acolyte is in June. That's
Was
not a
that a
video
video game?
game.
Oh,
It's not a video game. Well, no, it's not. Like I was thinking Knights of the Old Republic, which we've been waiting on a remastered series to come out forever, but they'll never do it. It's not. It's not a video game, but I'm thinking like, yeah, they could do Jedi Survivor.
With Cameron Monaghan. They need to keep him.
Well, we've been begging for it at this point, right?
Yeah.
But overall, this series, it's one of the most streamed series out there.
Wow.
Everybody's in love with it. It's got an 8.6 out of 10 on IMDb.
Wow, that's huge.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Well, and the fact that it
it's
got renewed the first week it was out for season 2, like, obviously a lot of people
yeah.
watched it.
Uh,
But I think it's
they
also
were
word of
always
mouth.
going to do a season 2, I think, but word of mouth has driven it.
25
Yes, we
type
know there's like
Pokemon.
Magikarp. Obviously, there's
I
Magikarp.
didn't know that.
I did, but
Logan,
my,
I'm gonna
my
tell
brother
Logan
and I
'cause
are
he's
wicked big into
gonna love
Pokemon.
that. No, thank you for that tidbit because Logan is loving all the anime stuff, probably because I don't, and he's been watching Pokemon, and he's obsessed with the ocean, so he will love hearing that.
Did I tell you that my son brings extra snacks to school to trade for Pokemon cards?
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
He takes extra, and then he's mad this one kid never gave him the Pokemon. He traded snacks. The kid
What?
never paid his dues. Yeah, dude.
Sounds like he needs to file for specific
I'll go
performance.
beat this kid's ass. For legal purposes, it's a joke. But I'll fuck that kid up. But no, anyways, you're taking my fucking snacks from my house that I could be eating, you son of a bitch.
Nobody messes with my cocktail fruit.
Yeah, no, the season 2, but I just hope we don't have to wait. Like, Amazon has a problem with making us wait for fucking ever.
June 13th, The
Yeah,
Boys
that's The
season 4.
Boys, but, like, I know
But it's been 2 you realize it's been 2 years, not 1 year since season 3. It's been 2 years.
it's been 2 years, it's been that
It's
long?
yes.
How long was it between Invincible, right? Wasn't it 2 years just about for Invincible?
I don't know. I know we had so first we had COVID and then we had the writer strike, but I feel like I wasn't watching anything on Prime before COVID, so I couldn't tell you. I think the
Yeah,
first thing I ever watched on Prime was The Boys.
yeah, it's been a long Amazon Prime, like, puts out excellent content. They just make you wait for
Fantastic.
fucking
Yeah,
ever between seasons. It sucks.
they really do. Well, and obviously Gen V, I'm sure, has gotten,
But
that'll
good
end
things come to
later.
those who wait, or whatever Jesus said that one
Unless
day.
we die before it all comes out.
You know, what was it? There was something that comes out this summer, and the Deadpool Wolverine trailer. I saw that trailer, and my first thought was, well, I can't die before July 24th now, can't I?
I know, but you know how many times I've said if Hugh Jackman's Wolverine shows up in the MCU, I can die happy. So after this movie comes out, I have to be very careful because like gotta be like, well, you
The
said
last day I ever see
you've been
Lauren is when we walk out of the movie theater. She proceeds to get hit by a
struck
double-decker
by
bus in
lightning.
London. We're
I go
like
out
talking
Regina
about the
George
movie.
style.
We're in London. I'm eating flake, which is the best candy on earth. We're pip pip cheerioing it to our fucking tea venture or pub or whatever. And then R.I.P. Lauren. God's like, all right, Lauren, time to pay up. You sold your soul for Hugh Jackman to return in the MCU.
Did and you know what? It's probably been about
Taxes
10
ain't
years.
cheap. I need to pay up.
I'm trying to think. Well, probably when the first Avengers. I'm trying to think what moment I was like, we just need Hugh Jackman, and then when they sold to Disney.
Ah.
But you know what? I got closure in 2017 when I saw Logan, and I was like, "Okay, I'm okay with this. This was a beautiful movie."
Patience come to those who wait. Patience or mom, we're in the ER. What? Like patience? Like you talking about like I'm an ER nurse and I'm just
Is
waiting
that
for
why doctors make us wait
I'm
so
just
long?
kidding. I know what she meant. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
God, 24 years ago. It's been 24 years. This movie has been longer in the making than Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Dude, it's
So
so
remember
depressing to think about like by the time we probably get Secret Wars, we're gonna be fucking old.
I'm already old. By the
No,
time we
you're
get
not.
Secret
I used to think 40 was old, and now I'm like 33, almost 34, and I have kids being like, what was the high school like in the early 2000s?" And I'm like, "Dude, I still
okay,
feel like I'm
Brielle
21. What
asks
do you
what high
mean?"
school is like in the 1900s.
Oliver has been all about like this plant's from the 1900s, and I'm like, "You better shut your bitch ass up right the fuck now." Because first and foremost,
What's funny though is one of the cliche things to say in so many TV shows in the 90s, "Ugh, it's the 90s." Ugh, it's like the 90s was so far into the future. It was the
it
90s.
was
Like,
the 90s, man.
yeah, it's just the 90s. That's what we're doing in the 90s. And now it's like the 90s is like the
But I
same as
truly feel
1905.
like being 40 years old or 50 years old, At this point,
Oh,
like, because like you don't feel that old because I feel like medicine's gotten better. We're not smoking indoors as much anymore. Like that's a big plus. We're actually still out
yeah.
there working out and taking care of our bodies. I can go on a whole thing. Uh, but as we kind of wind down this week's Cantina Hour, do you have any final thoughts on
I
Fall?
I don't I have a lot of thoughts, but I'm gonna think about them over the
Many
next few months.
thoughts.
I have many
Many
thoughts,
thoughts.
and, about Fallout, I just truly loved it. I don't have too many thoughts or insights. I said what I wanted to say with it. Really freaking enjoyed it. By the time season 2 comes out, I'll probably have to rewatch season 1.
My boy
Speaking
Ken. I love
Okay,
shout out
my
to Ken
kid
real
so
quick.
Brielle, my 11-year-old, borrows my clothes all the time, and she calls them vintage because, like, she
Oh,
wears I have a pair of
wow.
flares from high school that she wears, like, every other she wore them this morning, and she calls them vintage. They're from Express. They're not
Oh,
vintage.
they
Oh,
are.
no.
They are. She's
They're either
11, dude. Of
Express or
course.
American Eagle, one or the other. Okay, so Wolverine, the weeks lead. So when we are going to Europe, we are going to plan episodes before then. We will be going into Old Man Logan. We will be rehashing Wolverine in the MCU, Deadpool in the MCU. Obviously, that's much shorter. I've already started rewatching the movies. I will have a lot more thoughts, a lot more opinions. I don't necessarily think that it is guaranteed that this Wolverine is the Wolverine we know.
Oh, all
I'm
right.
not set on that. I do think we will probably get more than one Wolverine. Whether or not it's
Henry
Laura,
Cavill's alleged to be playing one, so I don't know.
I have mixed feelings on that because I love Henry Cavill so much.
God, he's the perfect specimen.
Are we just keeping Wolverine tall now? I mean,
Might as
I'm
well.
I'm kind of indifferent to it at this point. I feel like it doesn't matter.
Listen, movie magic, man. You can do whatever your heart
But,
desires.
but Matt, are you a beaver? Because
I
damn,
went to high school. Stan. I went to high school, Stan. And that's what I was saying. Shout out to Ken as well. Ken in the chat, man. Ken is the
I
hardest
saw
working man in
Ken.
comic books. Ken is our Lord and Savior of at Nerd Initiative, which I'll get to in just a minute after Lauren finishes her thought.
I will finish my thought in July. So
Lauren's
you're
over
good.
here like, oh, yeah, God. I can't, I don't want to sit
Okay,
next to Lauren. She's going to be like fucking touching herself
I'm
to
gonna be
goddamn Hugh
crying the whole
Jackman.
time. I'm just gonna be crying the whole time. It'll be fine. I'm not
I
gonna be
thought
touching myself. I'm gonna cry. Um, so in the comic too, though, at one point he goes to
I
like
have
not I
that
don't think
book.
it, not I know because I sent it to you when the
Ooh, I
Celtics
have that
beat the
book.
Heat. I know. This was your prize for when the Celtics beat the Heat last year or the year before. I don't even
I
know.
think it was the year before.
I think it was too.
Because last year
But
the Heat got swept by the Nuggets in the finals.
ew. They're not getting swept by the Celtics this round because we already beat them.
Oof.
Next game is on Saturday. So in this comic, though, eventually, though, Wolverine does, or Old Man Logan does go to another universe. And in that universe, a young Wolverine is dead. And people are like, oh, we recognize you. And that's when you actually get a younger, like, kind of douchebaggy Hawkeye that says something about, like, haven't you had enough beers? Don't you need some coffee?
Nope.
So who knows what's going to happen? I don't know. It might
Anything
not
could
be the
happen.
Logan we know.
It might not. Who knows? That's the beauty of the multiverse, man. We're gonna dive into it. As for now, we are gonna go ahead and wrap up this week's Cantina Hour. Now, I mentioned Ken. Ken is one of my favorite people on earth because he's
You
one of the
say,
hardest working men in
say
comic
Nerd
book.
Initiative, Jesus.
He is Nerd Initiative Jesus. He is, in which you could find weekly comic book reviews starting Tuesday with DC and Wednesday with all the rest.
Everything
9
else.
a.m. Eastern. There is not a creator, comic book, what have you, that Ken does not know. Which reminds me, Lauren, I never read your article yet. I'm going to do that right after I get off here so I can schedule it for tomorrow.
Better, you son of a bitch.
I'm the worst. But yes, Nerd Initiative, Lauren
Did your
wrote a
mom give us the
ex.
middle finger?
She did because we're talking about old people shit. I'm surprised she's still awake.
She
Getting ready
calls
for,
me old.
but no, like, dude, Nerd Initiative. Lauren wrote a great article on May the 4th. That's
You
next
don't know, you
Saturday.
didn't read it yet.
Ooh, you got me there. All right. All right. All right. I can assume Lauren wrote a great article because Lauren is the backbone of this podcast. She actually carries this podcast on her back at all times, believe it or not. She does all the hard hitting research, the hard hitting facts, all of that stuff. That is all Lauren. I just show up. I press play. I
He
say,
does all the
"Hey, what's up,
technical stuff
folks?"
'cause he's
And then
only a
I edit
therapist.
this podcast and make sure it's on, at the right times. Ken actually wrote your article. It has his blessing, and that what more? I don't even need to read it. Write it now. Read it. I've had a
Please
couple
edit
of beers
it right
tonight.
now.
Hashtag Nerd Initiative Jesus. Thank you guys so much. Shout out to my mom this past weekend. She sent me ketchup chips. Those are my favorite things on earth, and I fucking demolished those in one weekend. But yeah, if you guys want to support the show, patreon.com/HopsGeekNews is how you can. Hops Geek News on any social media platform. You're probably already watching this on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, whatever it may be. Share with a friend. That's how the podcast grows. Monday, we are releasing our episode on Dune. We talked Dune the movie, Dune 2, Dune 1984, in the Dune first book. And then on Wednesday, we are going to be releasing an interview. And then also on Friday, again, another interview. We have a lot of creator interviews about comic books that we've just got done recording the past couple of days. I'm going to be releasing those throughout the week for the next couple of weeks.
A lot of fantastic comics we've read.
And then not to mention Thursday, May the 2nd. May is a big month for us.
We're really kicking off Star Wars that day.
This is year 4 of Star Wars month at Hops Geek News. And Star Wars month is a big one for us because Lauren was not a Star Wars fan when we started this podcast. I have converted her as she has converted me into a Supernatural fan.
Casual fan when we started because of Disney.
Well, Lauren was not going to go see Phantom Menace in theaters, but now May the 3rd, Phantom Menace is in theaters. So Lauren's going to go see Phantom Menace in theaters. She's not.
Go with me.
But I'm going to fucking go see Phantom Menace in theaters next weekend.
Timmy, come over to Orlando. We'll watch it together.
But Phantom Menace is in theaters May 3rd. May 2nd, we have a guest coming on our Cantina Hour at 8 p.m. Eastern, where we're going to be talking Bad Batch because the series just finished up on Disney Plus. We're going to be talking some other good things. We have Crafted Cores, who, if I can't reach it right now, but if you've gone to Savvy's Lightsabers down in Disney World, Disneyland, you bought a lightsaber, maybe. And Crafted Cores builds little kyber crystals that are interchangeable with your Savvy's lightsaber, so you can get a red.
And they're so pretty. You can buy them at Doc Onders too, but the ones that they make are so pretty.
They also were the sponsor for our Mosh Isley event for MegaCon. No big deal. But aside from that, we're going to be talking about Asajj Ventress and Quinlan Voss in Dark Disciple. We're going to talk about the movies, all sorts of things. So May is a really big month at Hops Geek News. Also, Nerd Initiative. We're going to be rolling out Star Wars content all throughout the month. As I guess I'm your lead for Star Wars content for Nerd Initiative. I kind of didn't know.
Knock over your lightsaber or a beer?
I knocked over an empty beer can.
Okay.
It's party mode, man. Thank you guys for hanging out with us, though. I'm long-winded. That's how it is. Subscribe, like, share. Good stuff. Lauren, any final thoughts?
May the 4th be with you.
That's right. May the Force be with you. Don't kiss your sister, man.